See, the funny thing with the step out rule, I think public opinion is more in favor of the step out rule than coaches are in favor of the step out rule. Because we floated it. When I was on the rules committee, we put it out there. We were like, do we start to explore this? And we floated it on a survey of like, coaches, would you be interested? And like 20% of coaches said they'd be interested in it when they replied. And, you know, being on the committee, when 80% of your constituent base is like, no, we're not interested. Like, you don't really force a rule down somebody's throat when 80% are not on board with it. So
Joel, would you say that is indicative of our data? I don't think so, right? I think most of the coaches, now they could be full of shit when they're on the podcast, because, and the reason I say that is because it seems to me, from, let's just call it a fan's perspective, that it does take some of the ambiguity out of stalling, right?
I think we get that a lot more from the actual athletes as opposed to the coaches.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Do you think it would help though, Matt?
I don't know. Honestly, I've gone back and forth. When I got on the committee, I was team push out. I was like, no, we got to go push out. This edge of the mat stalling thing is just like hard to understand. It's hard to watch. I don't know when somebody's going to get hit or not.
Hard to call.
And then we started digging into it, and I was like, you know what? I can understand why we are where we are right now. And part of it is, and one of the biggest data points that really jumped out to me was this edge of the mat stalling situation. What it's actually done is reduce total match time because it's forced more action to stay on the mat, and there's less stoppages, right? So if you think about the NCAA tournament, and you think about that first round, right? The average is about 3.5 hours. If you went up to a push out, you probably add about a minute for every single match that you wrestle because of stoppages, because you have to stop and reset, right? Stop and restart. And so when you do that, all of a sudden that tournament that we all love is even longer than what we thought it was. And matches ended up going from like, I think they were averaging at that point when I was on the committee, somewhere around like 7 minutes and 45 seconds for a 7-minute match, right? It goes from a 7:45 average to like a 9:50 average. Like, you know, you're adding almost 2 minutes per match just because you need to stop for every out of bounds step out. So I'm like,
saying, and where did they, so you're saying that freestyle matches take longer per minute of actual wrestling time than really?
Yeah. And freestyle is probably not even a great comparison because they have all the like passivity warning stoppages and the finger warning stoppages and to me, I actually struggle with freestyle a little bit right now just because of how frequently the matches are stopped and disrupted.
I agree with
and
that.
Like
that's fair.
The number of times I see a guy like taking a shot and they stop it just to warn him for a passivity call, and I'm like,
he just shot.
He was like in the midst of shooting when he blew the whistle.
You literally stopped action to tell him to be more active. Like, what do we? 100% agree with that.
So but I think that impacts it a little bit. Now, could the step out be helpful? I don't know that it wouldn't be. I just am not 100% sold on it. I'm not opposed. I'm not sold. I don't know. I struggle with it a bit.
I am all for a step out as long as we get rid of stalling them.